Agency in Motion Continuing Education Series. This is a series that's designed specifically for agents, advisors, producers, and agency builders in the financial services industry. And today's episode is all about habits over resolutions. This is the power of habits in achieving your goals in the new year. This is extremely important because as we move into the end of the year and as people start making all these resolutions and as they get into the first weeks of the new year and everybody breaks those resolutions and quits, we need to understand what's going on and how to position ourselves so that we're not lumped into that herd mentality and the failures of the herd. So like I was just mentioning, every year this time as we approach, the end of the year, the beginning of the new year, everybody's sitting around and they're thinking about things they want to happen in the new year, whether that's, hey, I want to quit smoking, I want to lose weight, I want to manage my debt, I want to save money, I want more family time. No matter what you see on this board and what you could possibly think of, all of these resolutions, they're just wishes. And wishes normally don't come true. So what you need to know is that resolutions are goals. Goals without a plan of action and execution are just wishes. So we need to go back to the drawing board and we need to align ourselves with personal habits, because the personal habits that we have, whether they are good habits or bad habits, they're the result of many small decisions that people make over time. So understand the things that we do continuously day in and day out, that's just a culmination of small decisions that we made over time that have led us to these personal habits. Now, if they are good habits, we want to continue. If they're bad habits, we want to drop those and replace those with good habits. Our lives today, whether you're looking at your financial life, your health, your career achievements, all they are is just a reflection of our past habits. So once again, if things are going in a good, positive direction for you, great. Sounds like you've lined up your habits to achieve something positive. On the other hand, if you're not getting what you want, you're not going in the direction that you want to go, you don't have to look any further than what's happened on a day-to-day basis. Your habits now, your habits in the past, and then your habits going forward are going to dictate, which direction you go. So understand that you can't do anything about the habits that have led you up to today, but you can definitely do something about the habits going now and forward, because that's going to shape what happens or not happens in your professional and your personal life. To make these personal changes, professional changes, whatever it is that you're concentrating on, you have to focus on the habits and the routines rather than the events or the success metrics. Remember, the goals, the events, the success metrics, you're going to get there if you have the pathway to actually get there. And the pathway is lined with habits. So you've got to focus on habits and routines. You got to build the good habits. You got to break the bad habits, and that will allow you a legitimate path to get to those end destinations, those goals, those success metrics that you're looking at. Really, there's three things that you need to put into effect. The 3 steps to affect habit change are called the 3 R's, and they're pretty easy. It's reminder, routine, and reward. Once you understand the cycle of affected habit change, it's easier to go in and then look at your habits, break the bad habits, replace those with good habits. And you do that by understanding that reminders are just triggers that initiate behavior. So if you have reminders in your life that are triggering bad habits, you need to be aware of that and you need to change that. Otherwise, if you have triggers that are initiating behaviors and habits that are positive, you want to just throw fuel on that. Keep going that way. So reminders are triggers that initiate the behaviors, and then that creates routines. Routines are just behaviors or actions that people take. So the reminders are the triggers, the routines are the actions that we take, and then the final R is the reward. The reward are the benefits gained from the change behaviors. So you have performance and recognition, work-life balance, learning and development. You have a lot of different rewards in the reward circle. You need to understand the 3 R's. You need to implement the 3 R's. And then if you're doing something that's in a positive for your life, you should see the rewards coming in. On the other hand, if you're doing things that are hurting you or having a negative impact, you're not going to have the rewards. You're going to have the consequences of those behaviors that you're not willing to change that are holding you back. It's real easy. This is the same thing that we tell our clients. Decide where you are now, decide where you want to be. What's that perfect life? And then decide how you're going to get there. It's the same thing with us professionally building businesses, whatever it is that we're trying to do. You need to decide who you want to be professionally, personally, and then you have to go out and you have to prove that to yourself every day. So, like a boxing match, you've got rounds day in, day out. Are you winning? Are you losing the rounds? You're not going to win every round, but you have to put together an overall plan of action that's going to get you into a place where you're actually making headway. You're creating some desired income or financial outcome, professional outcome, personal outcome, whatever it might be. And you've got to go out every single day and prove it to yourself. So, what I tell you guys is that, in our business, we're looking to build distribution. Agency build out comes from attracting partners and clients. We always say, who is that perfect hire? And then go out and be that person every day. So, you're somewhere right now, you've got somewhere where you want to be, decide what that is, and then you've got to go out and prove it to yourself every single day. You got to set schedules, not deadlines. This is one of the most important things that, people fail in not achieving their goals is because they set a deadline. And a deadline just gives you a reason to procrastinate. Hey, it's not due 30, 60, 90, 6 months, a year from now. I'm not going to work on it right now. And then what happens is, as we get closer to those deadlines and we haven't met those goals, we either push it down, kick the can down the road, or we water down that goal to meet the place that we're at right now. So set schedules. What do you need to get done continuously every single day? What is in your schedule? Usher in the good habits, break the bad habits, set the schedules. They're going to lead you to a repetitive motion of being in habits that are good for you every single day. Remember, those goals that we set, they're important to understand the end destination of where we're trying to go, but goals are lofty. Habits are bite-sized. So habits are something that you can take on right now, you can identify, you can break, you can change, or you can continue depending on what those habits are and what they're actually doing for you in your professional or personal life. Remember, if the habits are there, that's going to issue the pathway to actually get to your goals. Goals take superhuman effort. Habits are automatic. So once you get into the routine, once you have your habits, yes, your situation, your behavior, same situation, same behavior. It's just a cycle that you're going through. And once again, if it's a cycle of bad habits, you have to break those. If it's a cycle of good habits, you need to continue on that and find ways to put that more and more and more in place with what you're trying to accomplish. Know your why. This is an important thing as well. And we always talk about this as you're interviewing partners, as you're interviewing clients. Interview yourself every once in a while. Know your why. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? Because as you go forward, we all know every day is not going to be a winner. Every day is not going to be great. You're going to have good days, bad days, really bad days, really good days. You can't be too emotional about the process. You have to understand that habits are important, and then you have to revisit your why for the motivation. Progress is greater than perfection. So we see all the time, everybody's sitting on the sideline waiting for that perfect moment, waiting for perfection. If you're just out there putting your one foot in front of the other, developing good habits, making some headway, those small steps are still steps forward, and progress over time is going to lead you to those big goals and those lofty destinations that you want. You can't bite off more than you can chew, or it's going to certainly bite you. Remember, when you're going into a time period like this, where you're evaluating what's happened, what hasn't happened, and trying to set yourself up for the next run in your business, you can't change everything at once. You can't make big changes. Remember, it all kind of stems back down to your habits. Habits are something easily understood and defined and looked at and changed. So we're not trying to change everything. We're trying to change the things that will lead us to where we want to go. And reflect along the way. This is really important. And a lot of people don't understand the importance of reflection. Reflection allows you to take a look, what went right, what went wrong, revisit the why, understand what you need to do, go forward to either build on the momentum if things are going right, or reset if things aren't going right. Reflection is going to give you a way to see and improve along the way. Stack your habits. Remember, you can't change everything and you can't make these huge changes, but you can what's called stack habits. If you already have habits that are in place, insert some new habits, and not, these huge things that you have to do, small little habits. And as you stack those, stacking good habits on top of good habits on top of good habits, where you can see what type of a positive ripple effect that's going to have for your professional life, your personal life, relationships, whatever it is that you're trying to improve. Celebrate your victories, no matter how big or how small the victories are. That's going to depend on where you are in your business cycle. If you're brand new, just trying to get off the ground, gain traction, you need to celebrate what we call the small victories. As you get more defined in your business, as you get more mature in your business, your habits, your goals, those things are a little bit different than getting started, but you need to celebrate the victories along the way. So if you are starting, getting traction, growing, scaling, there are victories that you need to celebrate along the way. Victories and the celebration of those victories will boost morale, they'll boost motivation, energy, intensity. It really helps. So understand that everything doesn't have to be a huge victory. Celebrate the milestones along the way. And these are the pitfalls to avoid. So as you're looking at developing these new habits, breaking the bad habits, trying to get a plan of action in place that's going to get you to where you want to go, this is what you have to avoid. Try to change everything at once. That's not going to work. You can't just throw everything against the wall to see what's going to happen. That's going to be chaos, and that's going to be panic management. We've talked about the fact that nothing good ever comes of panic management. You have to change one thing at a time. What happens when I change this? What happens when I change this? Not what happens when I change everything. So dissect, change little pieces, see what that does, and then go back to the drawing board to see, hey, did that fix what I'm trying to fix? Did it not fix? If it did, great. If it didn't, we can change something else. Starting with a habit that's too big. So remember, you can't bite off too much at one time. So that habit, if it's a huge habit, you have to break it down, and you have to change smaller habits to get rid of or to throw fuel on the bigger habit. So don't think that you have to go at this, with with a habit that is too big, too strong, and too much of an obstacle for you right now. Break those things down. If you break the habits down into smaller compartments, you will see that maybe there's some habits with inside that bigger habit that you can change that will lead you to the habit. And then seeking a result, not a ritual. Remember, this is about incremental progress. This is about improvement over time. And you can see 1% better every day versus 1% worse every day. There is definitely, achievement or lack of achievement by incrementally getting better, by understanding the power of tiny gains, and seeking, once again, a result, not a ritual, is a big, big pitfall to avoid. Not changing your environment. If things aren't working, look around. Why are they not working? If the environment that you're in right now is cultivating bad habits, then change your environment. On the other hand, if the environments that you're placing yourself in are cultivating good habits, good changes, then continue to go with that. So just look around. Is this working for you? If it's not working for you, why is it? Sometimes it's just changing the environment that will give you a fresh start, fresh outlook, and will allow you, like I said, that legitimate path to start creating those habits that will get you to your goals. Another pitfall to avoid is assuming those small changes don't add up. And we just looked at the incremental 1% better, 1% worse every day. It's all about making small changes. Those small changes have a huge ripple effect on the bigger changes that you want to make, but you can't change everything at once. And you have to dissect all this stuff and break it down into things like habits and then environments. Don't sweat the bad days. If you do, you're going to quit. It's just the truth, because you have to go into any day, week, month, period of time, whatever it is, understanding that some things, sometimes, and some things aren't going to work out for you. So whether you are nailing it right now and everything's going great, or everything's just, not going great, going very, very poorly, Don't be too emotional. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Keep an even keel. Don't sweat the bad days. If you start to sweat the bad days, what you're going to find is it takes an emotional toll on you. The more emotional toll that it takes on you, the more emotional decisions that you're going to make. Nothing ever good comes from just being emotional about situations. Agency emotion, building, operating, and managing agencies in the digital age.